Now, what's up? What's up? What's up, Internet? What's up, Internet? Whoa, what's up, Internet? Whoa, what's up, Internet? Oh, the shortest load screen of all time. That's right. The shortest load screen of all time. James Lyser, Glenn Tookshire, Zach Clark, Michael Sarr, Andrew Holland, and the Fish Tank Barn all have their notification squad. Notification bell push notifications are all working over there big time. Good to see you guys. It's you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of you and myself. What's up? It's a beautiful Monday out here. It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day here in the United States. And shout out. You know, to be honest with you guys, I wrote out a big thing that I wanted to talk about on Martin Luther King Jr. Day today. And I realized that a lot of people are going to be inundated by a lot of that kind of stuff today, although it seems somehow the Second Amendment rights people are overshadowing it somehow in Virginia, of all places. Yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit bizarre today in the news on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I think we should all be sitting back and thinking about some of the stuff that we would like to see change for the better in this world. And I really don't think that, like, marching for gun rights on Martin Luther King Day is a good use of your time. If that's how you're going to utilize your time, feel free. The freedom is there. The freedom resides all around. Take your freedom and have your freedom, but it just seems like a monumental waste of time to me at this point. You know, and one of the biggest arguments somebody told me recently was like, hey, if the people in Hong Kong, if they had the Second Amendment, they would have already overturned their government. And I would say to that, a lot of it has to do with the fact that none of the people are involved in their government in Hong Kong, right? There's a very small percentage representing the people. And that's the same thing that's happening in the U.S. We only had, 42% of eligible voters voted last time it was time to vote. And we currently have a bunch of states that are making it more difficult for people to vote intentionally. So, I don't know. I feel like marching for gun rights today is a little bit weird. And that being in the news is a little bit weird when we don't even have half of the population showing up to vote. That seems weird to me. Like, why isn't that in the news? I don't know. But this is a fish show, and a lot of people say, hey, don't talk about politics on your fish show. Well, we are primarily a plant show, so let's get that straight right out the gate. We're primarily a plant show, supplemented by fish, supplemented by construction, supplemented by water conditions, supplemented by CO2 and lighting and all the kind of crazy peripherals that go along with aquariums and stuff. But that's my main focus. My main focus is taking care of plants, folks. I like to take care of the whole entire garden and not just the part of the garden that shoots bullets out of it, right? People always say don't talk politics because you're going to piss off people. And to be brutally honest, like, there are a lot of people out there that have a lot of different beliefs than I do. And the type of people that get super pissed off and stomp away, right? I probably wasn't going to have a conversation with them anyhow. So I don't mind telling you guys that I'm a progressive guy. I do think that the Second Amendment is awesome and we should keep it. I think the First Amendment is awesome and we should keep it. But I fear it has been so long since we've actually made an amendment to the Constitution that people have completely forgotten what it is all about. And, you know, the Founding Fathers, if you've actually read all the stuff that they wrote, which is, you go look up the Federalist Papers. They say we are supposed to be evolving our government with the time. And I find it a little bit odd that, I got into a minor discussion on Facebook over the weekend because I had posted the amount that we expanded our military budget this from last year to this year. We could build the Dallas Cowboys football stadium. If you guys realize how big the Dallas Cowboys football stadium is, it seats 110,000 people. We could build, with just what we expanded our military budget by, we could build 2 of those in every single state every year, right? And on a day like today, on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I would like for people to sit back and think about where our community wealth is going and where it is headed and where ultimately it's ending up, right? Is it ending up in the hands of somebody that's going to shoot a missile off, or is it in the hands of somebody who's going to make food for kids, right? Just think of it that way. Just think of it in, do I want it over here or do I want it over here? And it's not about supporting the troops. It's not about not supporting the troops and this and that. The reality is the budget that was expanded, that amount, right, is enough to house all of the veterans, not even the homeless veterans, all of the veterans in a year if they just started building houses or buildings. And something that's even more atrocious is we could build 34 of the brand new World Trade Centers, 34 of them. World Trade One, whatever that giant building is. We could build 34 of those with just what the military budget was expanded by. And that's my point. It's not, should we have a military or not? It's the astounding amount of money that is going into something, in my mind, that is like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What? Why? Why are we doing that? We could build 34 of those buildings that each one of those buildings has 3.5 million square feet inside of it. There's 73 elevators in that building. We could build 34 of those. And I keep, as Ginger Graves says in the chat, we may have expanded that budget, but it didn't help with medication costs for people in the military. Exactly. We're going to make the military bigger, but we're not even going to take care of them. The people talk about the VA and all that kind of stuff. As I'm highlighting right now, we could build football stadiums to treat veterans in every single state if that's what we wanted to do. And I think we as a people should start to demand that kind of stuff. And, when it comes to who I'm voting for, the person that's in the lead of who I would be voting for is Bernie Sanders. And, that's where my vote would be right now. If some Second Amendment guy came in here with a gun right now and said, you better cast your vote right now, who's it for? That's who I would vote it for. I would vote for right now. And the reason for that is that to expand the community for the benefit of the community is basically what his message has always been. And that's why I would stick with that, And I understand the idea of self-governance, that we all need to take care of the things that we all want to do on our own. But we are a community. We live in a world that is a community. Like, we live in a society, and we would like to expand those. I would like those things, the good parts of our society, to expand and do better, and that's just where I'm at today on Martin Luther King Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a guy who worked so hard to try and, to try and just make the United States just a better, more equal place, and it's the reality is that, Andrew Yang right now is running with the, $1,000 a person, the dividend, essentially. It's a dividend from the United States to the people who live in the United States. And that's one of those things that Martin Luther King Jr. was in favor for back then. When he was assassinated. Babe, when was he assassinated? Who? Martin Luther King Jr. Was it 65, I think? We'll have to Googlefy that. But you got to think, I'm coming up on 40 years old, right? So what was that, 55 years ago, right?
68.
68.
April 4th, 1968.
April 4th, 1968.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Memphis, Tennessee.
so that makes my math more difficult. 52 years ago, right? So 52 years ago, Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about people just getting some of the dividend from the United States, and Lawrence Keebler right there says, I don't seem to have any problems at my local VA clinic. Haven't paid a dime. You're welcome for my service. Thank you, Lawrence. I really appreciate it. And I personally know a ton of people in the military, and most everybody that I've talked to on my personal interactions with the VA and stuff like that is they're like, yeah, sometimes you have to wait a little while, but generally it's okay. I haven't seen a ton of problems with the VA, but I hear about it all the time. I hear about people talking about it, that they get super upset that we're not taking care of the veterans. And, and my stance on that is like, if we aren't, we just should. And if we're spending more money over here and we're not taking care of that, then we should continue moving forward, So, it's just it's a reality of the world that we live in. That a lot of ideas that have been around for a long time, they all of a sudden sound like they're like some kind of crazy revolutionary idea, and it's like, but no, it's been around for a long, long time, right? So I don't know. It's just a couple of things to think about today. I like I said, I had a big thing written down. I was going to get into this big diatribe, and I'm really not going to get into it too much today. I just want people to try and think of, like, just from the stance of, like, do you want to put money in the hands of, like, feeding and taking care of people, or do you want to put money in the hands of shooting a rocket off, at anything? And maybe you are a big fan of shooting a rocket off. I understand it. Rockets are super cool. Maybe you should talk to Elon Musk and head to Mars, though, because that is a part of the project that you could be up to right now. Baby, you want to pull up your mic and I'll introduce you and stuff? We have a special guest here today on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I was going to make a joke about how if people super chatted $1,000, then Vicky would come on the show. But then I just started rambling on about a bunch of nonsense, and now it doesn't seem like a very good joke. So, introducing my loveliest spouse, the loveliest spouse that has ever been. Oh, look at you! You're framed up, right in there.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, look at you. Oh, so good. I got the camera just lined up right on you. Your mic's not on yet, though. But your mic's about to be on. Whee! Got to turn on the mic. Got to stick my head down there. Put my forehead in the shot, and then I got to go over here and click a button, y'all. We got to change the audio like that. Right. Then we got to go over here to this scene. Boom. We got ourselves a lovely, lovely Victoria is here. Justin Woody is letting us know that he only likes Rocket Killies.
Rocket Killies.
I'm a big fan of the Rocket Killifish. What's up, Victoria? Are you here?
I am here.
Oh, Victoria is here on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. You want to look right here. Or over here. Or over there. Give you a hard time. I didn't get you, I didn't check your, hold on, I got to change your coloring a little bit here. You're a little hot. I mean, I know you're always hot, right? Yeah. But you're like, hold on.
I was trying to be all dark and mysterious over here with my hat on.
With your hat on?
Dark and
You're
mysterious.
dark and mysterious? Okay. Well, Victoria is here, I think, as far as I know, to join us for a show today. Our topic was, when the tank is overgrown. Vicky knows my biggest problem. I don't know if you guys have this problem. We're going to find out if anybody else has this problem. My tank, I always have the biggest problems with my tank when they get completely overgrown. And my plants outcompete my ability to put enough fertilizer into my aquarium. And it drives me nuts. It drives me nuts and it stresses me out. Are you on your phone? What are you doing?
I'm watching the live stream because I can't.
Watching the live stream?
I'm watching.
You're on the live stream.
I am.
You're watching it in life. Are you watching the chat?
I'm watching. Yes.
Oh, okay. It looks weird.
What? That I'm looking down?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I wonder if I have a... No, I don't have a thing.
Hey, guys.
Yeah. So anyhow, my biggest problem is when my tank gets completely overgrown, I start to lose the ability to maintain my fertilization process, and then algae is when algae takes off for me. I do get it at the beginning of the tank, so let's just put that aside. My biggest problem is the bookends, right? I'll start a tank at 900 miles an hour, right? I'm like, fertilizer, full light, let's go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got to battle back the algae. And then the plants start to win. And the plants win for a long time. And then, once it starts to get really overgrown, that's when I really start to have to deal with algae and whatnot. Well, Vicky's just reading, so I'll talk over here.
I am listening to you. Am I listening with my eyes?
Yes, because there's a camera on you.
I find myself telling Olivia, look with your eyes, not with your hands.
Yeah.
I'm listening with my eyes.
I look with my hands.
Yes.
Get grabby.
Joel looks with his hands.
But my biggest, it's almost always my biggest problem, and Vicky's heard me complain about this so many times, is that the tank has outgrown my ability to keep up with it. And that is pretty much always like my biggest problem. Realistically, in a planet tank, that's like when it gets really, really stressful for me, of like trying to figure out, because if I trim the plants back, they grow back more aggressively, right? They're established. So trimming's not normally a great option, but I trim the tops and replant them. Most people that watch this channel know that that's something that I do on a regular basis. And one of the big reasons for that is that it does actually it's the one thing that I know how to really battle back the tank really growing all crazy and getting past the ability to keep it fertilized and stuff. Because, oftentimes you get a lot of hair algae and stuff like that growing, especially into the substrate and whatnot, once a tank is just crazy overgrown. Because you think of it this way, when all the plants are growing and they're competing for nutrients and doing all that, the lighting is really high, the CO2 is really high. Eventually, you get to a point where there is going to be something left over, right? They're going to end up essentially with some kind of waste nutrient, and that's when algae is going to pop up and let me know it's getting pretty much out of hand as far as I'm concerned at that point, and things are just going to spiral out of control unless I do something. And one of the biggest things that I can do is trim all the tops, pull all the roots, and replant everything, and sort of essentially like have a fully mature tank, but be able to sort of restart the fertilization process, which is the same thing that Vicky and I do in the garden. See how I tied it together? See how I tied that together? That's what we do in the garden. Vicky's our garden extraordinaire. And the only difference is that hers takes a whole entire year in the garden when we do the garden. Because right now, we have all this time right now where we have to only battle the chickens eating our temporary covers that are cardboard and newspaper.
Yeah, I just kicked them out of the garden area before I came in here. They discovered how tasty my thyme plant is.
The thyme? They like it?
Yeah.
Give me a mic check. Give me a mic check.
Mic check. Check. Mic.
Are you quiet?
Would you like me to be right on the mic?
Sometimes you gotta get hot on the mic.
Getting hot on the mic. Okay. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to kick them out of the garden because
Yeah.
they've thoroughly brutalized the plants that are in there, including our raspberries.
Oh, our raspberries. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Raspberries and
being
avocados
troublemakers.
and blueberries. Those are like my three favorite.
Yeah. We're going okay on the blueberries. Those are doing good.
Mm-hmm.
But they're
Luckily,
not
raspberries
they're
are
not
pretty
being
easy to grow.
beat up by the chickens.
Yeah.
Actually, raspberries with chickens and you in the house work out really well. They like acidic soil, and so we just put coffee and coffee grounds on the blueberries, and they like it. Somebody around here drinks a lot of coffee.
It makes me poop. That's what it says right here.
Yep.
He's for my pooping.
Yep.
We probably got demonetized today for talking about poop and guns.
Did we talk about guns already?
I
Did I
did. I
miss
talked
that?
about the Second Amendment people. They're marching in Virginia right now on Martin Luther King Jr. Day for their Second Amendment rights.
I thought that they were doing that because they're discussing that they're in the next 2 days on the Hill.
Yeah. Why aren't they marching tomorrow? Or Saturday? Or Sunday?
Well, you know, they schedule
Or Friday?
They schedule these things, and sometimes it's the date that's available.
Like Martin Luther King Jr. Day?
Apparently so.
I don't know.
Maybe they all had the day off and decided it was a good opportunity to use it to march for their Second Amendment rights.
Instead of Saturday? Well, Saturday's kind of important.
They may have had other
you got other
things
plans.
scheduled.
Yeah.
Who knows?
It makes me wonder. I don't know. This makes me wonder at this point. You know.
Alyssa was suggesting moving the mic closer to my face.
Why?
So I don't have to lean into the table. She must have been sitting in this chair before.
Alyssa comes on the show.
I know. That was...
Yeah. I'm thinking about starting a new segment called the Bentley Corner.
The Bentley Corner.
Yeah.
Alyssa Bentley and...
Bentley Pasco.
Bentley Pasco.
You have to have a Bentley in your name to make it into the Bentley Corner. You could be your
that
middle name.
excludes me.
It could be your middle name.
I'm not changing my middle name to Bentley.
I'm not saying you change your name. You have your own thing.
Oh.
You have your own feature videos on the channel.
Oh,
garden vlogs, chicken vlogs. We got a hike vlog. We got a whitewater rafting video that makes no lick of sense, so I just don't know how to edit it.
Oh.
Our whitewater rafting video when we went rafting last time. We filmed.
Yeah, when we went rafting for a charity. That's what.
Yeah, that was for a charity, wasn't it?
It was for a charity. It was for a raft guide who'd been in a terrible motorcycle accident.
Right, because we don't have health care in this country. We don't have an innate option, that just is.
Universal health care.
I still think we should have private health care if we had universal health care.
Well,
I think you should have like a supplementary, like if you...
Isn't that how the Dutch do it? They have health care, but you can enhance your coverage.
I think the Dutch are that way. I think Sweden's that way.
Well, that's kind of like what I picture Medicare for all to be like. I mean, you know that I know that industry.
Right.
And so, just having base coverage and then being able to add the coverage that you want based on available supplemental plans. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's a system that works, and it's a system that incentivizes good health and good practices. Doctors are incentivized for improving people's health, not...
Right.
Yeah. And it also is an industry that, in its own way, has been able to participate with big pharma in a meaningful way. Not that it's perfect, because it's not, because there's no control of pricing, but there is a prescription drug program that seems to have some ground in that area.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's one thing. Like Vicky knows a lot about the health insurance, Medicare, Medicaid, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, not a lot.
And I'm being
Medicaid,
wrong.
but...
I understand. I'm not saying it correctly, Vicky. I know. I'm explaining how dumb I am, and just saying that you're super good at that stuff, and you know a lot of the ins and outs, without getting all specific, about what you do and that kind of stuff. But that's just like man. It's kind of a good point that you brought that up, because it's a good guy. That's a good dude that didn't have health insurance because he worked, he's just a guide, like he's just a guide dude. We need guides.
Outliving his best life, man.
Yeah.
Traveling all over the world, being out in nature, appreciating, nature and
it doesn't make him less American.
Telling jokes.
That doesn't make him like less of an American, right? It makes him still 100% American.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's a good dude.
Good dude?
Good dude. He did the Superman move. That was the raft guy that did the Superman move. The raft-to-raft jump.
Mm-hmm.
That was insane.
I mean, I don't know if it was insane. It was pretty fun.
I'd never seen it before.
It's pretty fun.
Raft jump in whitewater.
I mean, it's pretty fun. I don't know if it's insane. Alex Honnold is insane. That's the guy that climbed El Capitan with no ropes.
Well, yeah, I
by
know,
himself.
But that's insane.
Just thinking. He's
okay,
like, I gotta go up here.
maybe insane was the wrong word. Maybe I meant like crazy awesome.
I gotta go up here from this crack. And I got a tomahawk over to another crack.
I'm not
like, what, dude? You don't have a rope, bro. Like, I'm scared of doing that with a rope.
that to me is insanity. But I'm scared of heights, so top roping is just fine for me. So,
got to get Vicky on a bunch of lead climbs. We gotta leave. We gotta leave this world, this ragamuffin city life, and start climbing more mountains. We got to do that. It's just what we got to do. Oh, speaking of that, we went to REI yesterday, and I accidentally got a pair of shoes for $48 at REI.
Pairs of shoes.
Yeah. You tell the end of the story.
Sorry.
Like at the beginning, bro. What's the deal?
I don't know. We didn't discuss.
You can't blow the top off the story.
The
story was gonna get super good.
I'm blowing the top off now.
Well, I was gonna explain what happened when we went to REI. Because you got some flip flops for the baby, and it was way too big.
Turns out they don't carry toddler sizes at REI.
They only carry kids sizes.
Just children's sizes.
Or children's size, yeah. So we had to take those ones back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make a return. And while I was there, Olivia and I were climbing around the climbing chalk, causing a mess in the place. And then, the REI guy comes by, right? And he's like, hey, man, can I help you out with anything? And I was like, you know what? They have clearance stuff there a lot. So I was like, maybe there's a clearance thing going on. And I was like, well, do you guys have approach shoes? Because those are the type of shoes I like to wear most of the time these days. Because I have to take my shoes off in the house. I used to wear big boots. But I can't wear boots anymore because I don't wear my boots in the house. So I have to take them off and on and off and on all the time. It's like, I don't know how I'm going to pull this off. Trying to be a dad, trying to take my shoes off, not tromp mud around the house and get in trouble, right? Can't get in trouble.
No mud in the house.
No mud in the house.
That's why we have a mud room.
That's why we have a mud room. Yep. And so I asked the guy, and he's like, you know what? We don't ever carry approach shoes here at this location because it's a small one. It's muy pequeño. Yeah? And he's like, wait a minute. Somebody accidentally sent us 2 pairs the other day, right? One of the other stores accidentally transferred them there. And he was like, what size are you? And I was like, 11. And he was like, dude, that's what these are. Let me go get them. And he brought them out. They're like Evolve shoes. Pretty good quality shoe. It's up there. Maybe not the top, but it's up there. So I try them on. I'm like, they fit really good. I'm like, oh, cool. I'm expecting REI prices $180 or something crazy like that. They've been marked down a bunch of times to $48. And so the guy was like, because I was like, oh, do you have another color? And he was like, yeah, I think there's a black pair in the back. And I was like, okay. So he went to grab those and brought them out. And they were blue like the other pair. And this is when I checked the price, and I was like, they're $48. And the guy was like, oh, my God, why are these $48? Hold on, let me check. Oh, man, they're $48 because they're last year's shoe. Like, what are they, bad now? They're just last year's shoe.
Yeah.
Last year's model.
In a year.
So, anyhow, he was like,
at the other
because he goes like, oh, yeah, I think I'm going to buy the other pair. And I was like, I don't think you are. He's like, what? And I'm like, because I'm going to buy both. He's like, oh, man. And I'm like, that's where the credit card comes in handy. Because this will be savings in like 6 months when I blow out these pairs of shoes. Boom, I bust out a brand new pair. Right? Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not a very good story now because you told the punchline at the beginning.
I still think it was a good story.
Was it good?
I still think it was a good story.
Hot dang. Donald's Fish Vibe says, Bentley, that's much if you're in the U.S. I got dehydrated once in Miami on company business and ended up in the hospital 2 hours later. I'm looking at a $3,000 bill U.S.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, you got to learn a little bit about your health care, especially if you're under 65.
Mm-hmm.
Alyssa was mentioning something about being responsible for 60% of her medical bills. And
Mm-hmm.
I would suggest looking into an HSA compatible health insurance account, and the financial HSA provides tax deductible savings for health related stuff. So you get a bunch of money you get a write off, and HSAs are a good retirement vehicle. So as a small business owner, that might be a good option for you.
Right.
The deductibles are lower, as is the co-insurance. So you may take a look at that during the next enrollment period if you're not on a small group plan.
I dig it. Check that out. Health savings account.
Health savings
Health-
account.
Health
At a
health
HSA
savings
compatible health plan.
Compatible health plan.
Yep, especially if you're healthy.
It's tax deductible. Ow.
Yeah,
My knee.
it's a good option. And if
Speaking of
you-
taxes, my taxes are going full steam ahead right now. Good Lord.
yeah.
It's a mind-bending mess of madness. Let me scroll up the chat here a little bit.
I wanted to say
what do you
thank you to the folks that watched the chicken video and were commenting on it in the newsfeed. Thank you for
Yeah, thanks. Hey,
thanks for watching, and thanks
Appreciate
for
watching
mentioning it.
chicken video. Justin Woody says, my new Shelly tank has the sand covered with algae, sadly. I have lots of Val in it, but can't seem to defeat the algae. Typically with a shell dweller tank, you're going to have like crazy high hardness in there, mainly because of all the crushed coral and whatnot. So what I would do is kind of dial back the light a little bit and then see where you go from there, because you got Valsneria. It doesn't need a ton of light. It's going to grow up to the light, so less light is generally going to be better for most every type of Valsneria, except for corkscrew Val when it's young. Eventually, when it grows up tall, you can turn the lights down. But with how tall,
I love that stuff. Corkscrew Valsneria.
Mm-hmm.
I love that stuff. Looks so cool.
What's going on here? I just got a weird.
What happened?
Oh, somebody deleted their patron, but Sand Creek Aquatics coming in with a new patron pledge.
Nice.
Thank you very much, Sand Creek Aquatics on the Patreon. I didn't get a chance to give a shout out to Ian Van Natter, for becoming a new Patreon. Care Aquatics, aka Peppercini 808. Which, if you got the 808 in your name, we know you're coming out of Hawaii. So it's always good to have patrons from Hawaii, because if we ever get a chance to visit Hawaii, we know that there will at least be an opportunity to meet up and what's the roll up thing with the Spam in it? Musubi. Yeah, I was gonna get that wrong, so I figured I'd ask the expert over there.
Spam musubi.
It's
Muy bueno.
Es muy bueno. Bien bueno.
Yes.
Yeah.
But do they know about the Loco Moco?
Do they? I would assume pretty much anybody from Hawaii would know. Yeah. And we did get a super chat that I missed to say thank you for Alvin Alejo. And thank you for your service, Alvin. Alvin is currently in the, we'll say, armed forces.
Ah.
That's a good way to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way to just give a generalized thank you, Alvin, for your service. And thank you for the $2 super chat with the woo, Vicky. I couldn't get deep good there. This pneumonia is kicking my butt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't got my good pipes. Sorry, guys. The pneumonia is just. We shall see. I'll go back and get more X-rays here Thursday, I think, if needed. We shall see. Otherwise, I'll go the week after. Donald's Fish Vibe says I gave them a health card international. They had 3 months to act. They called me on the 4th month requesting I pay the bill because I didn't file the claim on time. Ooh, that's yikes. Sorry to hear that. Violet Alpha asking, are plant weights bad for fish and shrimp?
No.
Vicky Toria is correct. Nope. They won't affect the water quality or anything like that. Just be assured. I can't tell you the exact chemical composition of the plant weights and what they are now. They're commonly referred to as lead weights. They aren't lead, and they won't be causing a problem with your water column, with your fish.
What are they if they're not lead?
Or your shrimp. What's that?
What are they?
I literally just said I can't tell you what the actual
I missed
composition
that
is
part.
off the top of my head. I'd have to go look it up. Corey and I had so many discussions about it, and I just cannot recall exactly what the composition is, so I didn't want to be like, it's blah-blah-blah and be wrong, you know.
Oh.
But I just want you guys to know that they are safe. I've had them in crystal shrimp tanks, killifish that hatch, you know what I mean? I've had them in every tank I've ever owned. There's one in there somewhere. And if it was a problem, probably somebody smarter than me would have figured it out a long time ago, and I would have heard about it, and then I would pass it on to you guys. Right? That's generally how that stuff goes. Is somebody with a fancy... some kind of fancy degree or science lab or something that they work in would be like, oh, man, this is killing fish. UG Aquatic says magnesium and zinc, and that sounds right.
Boom.
But I would have to double check. And just because I'm literally saying it's just not in my brain right now, and I would have to double check. But this sounds right.
Wouldn't the magnesium and zinc, those are good for plants? Generally
speaking, yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the weird things that I think a lot of people don't realize is that something that is in free form, in ion form, floating around your water column is different than something that is a solid. Chances are some things will oxidize and get into the water column, but like copper isn't really one of them. It doesn't oxidize underwater. It does oxidize a bit outside from moisture from the air, but it's like the copper from your copper pipes. If that was killing everybody's shrimp all the time, like you would hear about it like nonstop. Yeah. So Violet says, I'm trying to grow out some stem plants to sell and thinking of getting some weights so they are not just floating until sale. And that's exactly how I do it pretty much.
Well, I was just going to suggest she could do what you do, which is just throw it in the sump.
Yeah, but I throw weights on it. Like I'll take 5 or 6 of them, throw a weight on it, and throw it in the sump.
Yeah.
And my sumps are all lighted and stuff. I will be doing a sump video very, very soon. Not today, but soon. So you guys can check out some of my sump setups. But I do have to I have to kind of clean up a little bit before I shoot some video parts. I was like, oh, that doesn't look very nice on the camera. Cable management, wires, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, what were we on about? Oh, we're 40 minutes in, so we have to do the commercial here real quick. Hey, do you know what Patreon is?
Yes.
What is it?
It's a website where you can pledge to people to make content.
That's pretty good. Patreon is a third-party website where we can crowdsource bigger and bigger projects, or being able to support certain creators that you are a big fan of and you want to see keep going. I understand YouTube, Netflix, Disney, all the crazy sites and everything that is going on now. Everybody needs your $1, $2, $5, and I get it. It's a little bit overwhelming at times when you're like, oh, now I got to pay YouTube so I can watch YouTube video. I get it. A lot of people can't afford to do it, but if it's something that you're thinking like, man, I want to see the bigger and better projects, it costs a ton of money to put all this stuff together realistically, and I have lofty goals to make bigger and bigger shows, and that's what I want to keep doing. So if you're one of those people, hold on, let me check. We got to go to the main page here to get how many, because I almost had the number wrong. Is it not loading? Well, that's weird. It's not loading over here on the screen. Let's load it on this screen over here. How about that? 255 people, I think. Should be right. Unless our internet's broken, which it's not. Oh, 254 people. I was wrong. 254 people currently sponsor the show via Patreon. 74 people sponsor the show via YouTube. You can actually hit the join button now on YouTube. And be aware, I 100% appreciate all the people that are members on YouTube. And yes, there will be members-only content eventually someday when there's just enough time to be able to do that. Hold on a second. We're going to go like this.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that.
It's a good way to have a laugh during the show, right?
My I'm so happy face.
Yeah.
That you have as a screensaver.
Yeah. So yeah, if you feel like you want to sponsor, help us, help it out, you can. If not, you don't have to. We didn't mention the makerspace earlier, but we did talk about the community stuff. The makerspace is hopefully a community space where we'll be able to outfit with fish tanks, studio lights, cameras, all that kind of stuff, and also have the community actually physically come there. People will be able to come to it, be a commercial space. We'll be able to do projects like, hey, maybe we want to test 20 different fertilizers.
We drove by a cool spot today.
Yeah, we did. I can't effectively do that just out of pocket. I can't even just buy all of the fertilizers. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to be it just turns into a big giant project, and then paying the electric bill, paying the water bill, paying somebody to maintain all the tanks, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff really adds up. So that's kind of some of our plans for the future, and we shall see if we can get the makerspace going. If not, the makerspace will be someday out on a mountain, and it will be very, very difficult for anybody to ever even figure out where we are or visit. And then it'll just boil down to me flying places with hopefully my key sound person and camera operator,
Olivia?
Vicky Toria. Olivia is our, she's our, gaffer? She's our gaffer, yeah.
Oh.
The electrician.
There's a couple of questions in the chat.
Oh, Terry's Tropical Tanks.
Yeah.
Became a member on YouTube. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Terry.
Triple T.
T.
Terry's Tropical Tanks.
T cubed. What question you got?
So, what projects are in the works? And this one may be able to be answered in shorter version. Joel, did you or do you have saltwater tank and fish? From Donald Fish Vibes. And then what projects comes from Sokomokos?
Sokomokos, I have a bunch of projects in the work. I have the ongoing projects. I currently have, I'm going to have to go back and count, but I think almost 90 species of plant right now. So it's kind of ridiculous. I am redoing one of the 120s, so that is happening. I think Vicky would be pretty excited for that. Are you, Vicky?
I missed the response. I was reading the next question.
Oh.
I'll have what was the answer for 100, please?
Yes, I'm going to be rescaping one of the 120s. There's a bunch of projects coming up, so those will be pretty. And there will be videos made about it, and then you get to watch the video. So we're going to Germany in May.
Mm-hmm.
That's a project. We're going to Interzoo.
Mm-hmm.
Vicky's going. Although it sounds like she says she's not going now. What happened?
No, I'm going.
Yeah, okay.
I took the time off.
All right.
I moved my schedule around.
Germany.
Germany in May.
It's your freaking birthday, dear. Come on
Yes,
now.
I will be having a birthday in May while we are in Germany and while we are at Interzoo.
Internationally traveling.
For the first time ever.
For the first time. And your birthday.
And my birthday.
So excited. Look at your face.
I have some anxiety about
Your
it.
level of excitement is?
I am very excited about it, but I'm also have some anxiety because I'll be away from the baby for a week. And we'll be in a foreign country.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to expect because I've never been there. I've heard the people are amazing. I'm excited to see a different country and different culture and see some sights and hopefully make some new friends and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm nervous about it also.
Are you nervous? Why are you nervous?
I just said I'll be away from the baby for a week.
Oh, I wasn't listening. Sorry. I'll take. I wasn't listening for 100. No. Yeah, we'll be okay. We'll be away from the baby for a week. But we'll be good. She'll be in good care. She'll be in good hands with Allstate or Nationwide or whatever insurance company is going to be watching over her, right? Is that how that goes? I saw that on a football commercial. What?
What?
She'll be with Grandma and Grandpa. It'll be
I
fine.
know. I know she'll be with Grandma and Grandpa.
Yeah, it'll be good. Dr. Black is in the chat. What's up, my guy? He always got the funny live streams. I like that guy. He's down in Australia, all the way from Australia.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
How are things where
We
he's
got,
at?
it's on fire. Australia.
Well, I know,
It's
but
on fire.
Jesus.
And then now it's flooding because it started raining a ton. It rained like a foot or something crazy. Joel Jay-Z is coming all the way from New Swaziland.
Whoa.
From the Kiwis. What's up, Jay? Andrew Holland. My parents lived abroad when they were in the Air Force, and they both loved Germany. I love Germany, too. I really enjoyed Germany. That's one of the few countries that I think would be... I wouldn't say it would be seamless to move there, but I would be like, oh, yeah, totes. Okay. You know? Like, I think it's really one of those places that actually has enough geography and things like that I would be like, oh, yeah, totally. We're here. Okay. I think he's just bored. Okay. What was the other question that you had? This is another question that you had.
The saltwater tank.
Oh. Yes, I have a saltwater tank. It is going to be leaving soon.
Did we sell it?
No. No, it is not sold.
What about the livestock and stuff and the live rock?
It's still out. It shows how much Vicky pays attention. It's still in the garage, living and in our shop, being alive, living in the tank.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And when it goes away, where is it going to?
To somebody that's going to take care of it. I don't know.
No.
Somebody local that's going to come get it.
Okay.
You know, I don't know. I don't have a person that it's specifically going to. We have 3 or 4 oddball fish. So, like, you know, like it's like
A wrasse.
Mm-hmm.
Some hermit crabs.
Mm-hmm.
A clownfish.
Mm-hmm.
A cardinal.
Mm-hmm. Platinum cardinal.
Platinum
the big ones.
cardinal.
And a blenny.
And a blenny.
There's a blenny in there.
Did we get a blenny?
There's a yellow blenny in there that hides out in the sand all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That every once in a while comes out.
Yeah. And then
Like-
we have
And then hides again.
a flower anemone.
Mm-hmm.
Some snails, and that's it.
Some corals and, yeah, we have some corals and stuff, yeah. Reef tank?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. You're like, what?
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm not adding any content over here. I feel like I'm just here.
Andrew Holland's wondering how much are you asking for the saltwater setup? How much are you asking for
the whole
it?
meal deal? Well, we have a sump that's going with it, right? Do we have a sump? Do we have a glass sump that goes with that tank?
Well, we have a glass sump that can go with it, but I'm not giving away the red ruby sump.
Yeah, I know. We discussed that already.
I'm going to use that forever because Vicky got that for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll karate kick anybody that tries to just take it. I'll kick them karate style.
We have a, what is it? What size is the tank? A 60 gallon?
It's a 60-gallon cube.
60 gallon cube.
It's acrylic.
How much for the whole setup is? That's what he's asking?
Yeah, and then I asked you, how much is it? How much?
I don't know.
How much for the whole setup? What do you think? What do you think, Vicky? It's got 5 Fluval reef lights on it. One of them's still in the box, brand new.
I don't know. I have no idea what to say about the pricing on that.
It's the Fluval 3.0 reef lights. It's got a Bubble Magus Curve 7. It's got a, I don't know, heater, you know. There's a bunch of stuff.
We have a bunch of stuff.
It's a lot of stuff. I think realistically what I'm going to end up doing is I'm probably going to give the rock that's in it, the rock and sand and coral and fish, I'll probably just end up giving those to somebody because selling it is just chaos these days because you can't post anything that's live on Facebook for sale. You could post stuff on Craigslist, but as you guys know, the Craigslist people, it's just going to be the going round and round and round and round and round, arguing with people about this and that. And, well, what's up with the rock? And where did you get the rock? And where did this rock come? It's like, okay, you know. So I'm probably just going to rehome that to somebody that's local in one of the local groups here. One of the local groups here and just basically rehome them, orphan style, to anybody, you know. And if there's nobody that wants the rock, I'll probably just end up basically bleaching it, cleaning it, and then just selling it as bulk rock. Because I have a bunch of other bulk rock too. And then as far as the equipment goes, I'm probably just going to clean it up and resell it. So the tank, I'm probably just going to sell it for probably $300. All of the lights, probably $300. The skimmer, probably $100. I have controllers. I have all sorts of stuff. So it just really just kind of depends on lumping everything together. But realistically, if somebody like wanted to come get the whole setup right now and they had $500 in their hand, I would probably be like, yep, I'll help you carry it out and put it in your car. You know.
There we go. $500 for the whole setup.
Vicky says 1,000.
Did I say that?
Yeah, Vicky said 1,000. She was upselling.
Upselling.
And, you know, one of the big things is like, you know, I like having a reef tank and stuff like that, but the content never performs on my channel. I'm not going to start a channel that's all about reef tanks.
Somebody asked about filming it before it gets taken down, but I don't really think it's in any condition to film. I mean, it's not. I
mean, I could probably film taking it apart and that kind of stuff, but you know, this isn't a saltwater aquarium channel realistically at this point. So if I post a reef video, it's like 90% of the people that watch it are like, yeah, I don't really do saltwater. So I guess that's cool. You know,
Mr. Santiago was asking, can't you reduce saltwater tank into a freshwater? Yeah, we can, but we have different plans for the space where the saltwater tank is sitting, and it doesn't involve the 60-gallon.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, people ask the future plans. There are future plans for that space. I'll leave it at that. We'll see. We'll see what happens if somebody follows through on the thing they said they were going to do. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Our local fish Facebook group uses Band to sell stuff. Yeah, see, here's the thing. Like, I don't want to have to sign up for a bunch of websites and all this kind of crazy stuff and then be like, come get my reef rock for $200. And worst case scenario, I'll take it down to the local store and get probably some store credit. You know. Because I know those guys will take it and take care of it.
Yeah.
You know.
So if you act fast, $500 will help you load the car.
Mm-hmm. No sump, though. I'm keeping the sump.
No
Can't
sump.
have
Well,
it.
there's a different sump. Can't have the sump that's there.
Yeah, you have to buy your own fancy sump.
Or take the glass one that we have.
Both. Yes, do both. Take the glass one and then go buy your own fancy one. Do both.
Sure, yes.
Yes.
I can show you where I bought that sump.
At the store.
It's over by here, so you can check it out on your way to pick up the tank. Just saying.
It's too much. What do we got? Trying to cut back on some weight in some tanks. How do you
Terry's
plan to
tropical
attach the artificial decor long term? From Sand Creek. Sand Creek saying, trying to cut back on some weight in some tanks. How do plant attach to artificial decor long term? It really depends on the plant and what the artificial decor is. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
Java
picturing,
Fern will grab onto stuff, like Anubias will grab onto stuff, but I don't like artificial decor. I feel like if you have to go to the point of like spraying a bunch of spray foam and then like spray painting it and applying texture or extruding some kind of weird plastic material and then painting that or whatever, just don't do that. Like, I feel like if you can't make a natural tank and make it look dope, then don't know what to tell you. Like, I figure, like, just don't do that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's what I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong. But I don't like artificial stuff that much.
Terry's Tropical Tank says all the cool kids do both.
That's true. The cool kids do both.
All the cool kids do both.
Both. Both is how they pronounce it, though.
Both.
Andrew Holland says super glue works. Yeah, super glue.
Mm-hmm.
Steel wire, stainless steel wire, whatever. Just plants just want to hold on to something. And if you can provide that for a while, generally they'll grab on and then be there. We're coming up. We've got 2 minutes left because Vicky and I got stuff to do. So we're not going to be a long show today, but you got an extra guest, and we got a brand new member today. Viewer activity. Alvin Alejo and Tropical Tanks. Terry's Tropical Tanks. Should probably check out Terry's Tropical Tanks at some point. I mean you, not me. You should check out Terry's Tropical Tanks because he's a member on the channel. Let me get my chat back open. Okay. All right, I think we're all caught up. Vicky and I want to say thank you for everybody for coming out. Did everybody hit the like button? We have 100 people watching and 34 likes. What? 34 likes is not enough.
Hit that like button.
Yeah, hit the like button so the robots know.
And we did have one person
the robot overlords are going to take over. What do you got?
asking about shrimp breeding. Let me scroll back here.
What do you got?
Jessica. Nope. Hang on. Somebody was asking about shrimp breeding.
Who was?
I'm looking for it. Who was asking about shrimp in a tank with new fish?
Have space in my basement now that it flooded.
No, it was.
Oh, Andrew Holland's got space in the basement now that it flooded and I had to remove everything. Hey, let me know if you're looking for that reef tank or just the tank setup and stuff. Just let me know. I don't know what question you're looking for. I'm trying to look for it too.
Something about will my shrimp breed?
Oh, Wet Sleeves is saying, hey, man, you said you took acid for a whole year. Do you think that contributed to your artistic ways, aquariums, paintings, and such? Not advocating for that.
No.
3 days was enough for me. No, I don't think that it did. No. It helped me with being a generally more introspective person and being able to see step 3, 4, 5, and 6 versus just seeing like step 1 and being like that's all that it is. It's not something I recommend people to do, but it will definitely kind of change your perspective on certain things. And I don't think
And
it's a healthy thing.
there's some fascinating studies still with LSD.
Yeah.
To read about.
Yeah, there definitely are a lot of studies about it. I'm a Ken Kesey fan myself. And if you're wondering who Ken Kesey is, the electric Kool-Aid acid test is the book you're looking for. Let me go grab that. Let me grab a link for that. The electric.
Man, where was that comment?
Oh. I was searching in the wrong area.
I can't find it now. Somebody was asking about, will my shrimp breed in a tank with super red bristlenose and baby beta and
Oh, I forgot Tom Wolfe wrote that book. It's about Ken Kesey, though. Text.
Can't find it now.
Copy. All right, so here's the book I would recommend if you are trying to figure out if that's the maneuver for you. Go read this book. But no, I don't think it. I've always been a pretty, I guess, creative person. I've been somebody who's interested in that stuff. I've done music, a bunch of other things. But I also like blue collar work and all that, and I like math problems. I like all sorts of stuff. It's just that's just how I am. I'm kind of hardwired that way, and I really don't think any outside influence like drugs or alcohol or any of that kind of stuff increased it or not. Experiences will increase your ability to do that. Practice will increase your ability to do that. Repetition, becoming an expert at something, will increase your ability to do that.
Everything in life is practice.
Yeah, even not Picasso. Who's the other famous painter? What's his name? Crap.
Rembrandt.
No, I think it was Picasso. Repetition. Is that right? Oh yeah, it was Pablo Picasso. One of the things that he actually talked about. I didn't want to get that wrong. I hate it when I'm like, oh, I don't want to get this wrong and kind of quote the wrong person. But Pablo Picasso actually had a guy follow him around and eventually wrote a book about all of the stuff. Now, one of the really interesting parts in that book has to do with the fact that Pablo Picasso went through a long period of cubism, right, which is all just kind of funky shape stuff, and basically his take on it is that like everybody loved these blue paintings that he was making, like they just loved them, and he was like, oh, I just had to make those for like 10 years. So he basically just made these paintings for like 10 years and was like, yeah, I learned a lot of my process just from doing it over and over and over and over and over again, and just got better and better at it because I was doing it all the time. He was like, I didn't really take a whole lot of joy in it, but it was just basically, going jogging every day and then running a marathon eventually, right? And if you don't ever do any jogging, running a marathon is like impossible. It's the same thing with doing like a big painting or a big aquarium or any of that kind of stuff. Like if you want to get good at aquascaping, keep doing aquascaping. Rescape your tank, take care of your plants, learn what works better for you. I mean, I know that I have over the years tried to help simplify for people so that they can get their hands on the products to just have a higher percentage of success rate. That doesn't mean it's the only way to do things. There are so many ways to do all of the things, especially in aquascaping. But I try to just kind of pass on like, hey, I've tried all of this stuff. These lights work great. This substrate works great. This water treatment, this fertilizer works great. Move on. And then the hard part is, learning what it's going to be like over time of like how this driftwood reacts and breaks down, and then how it affects this plant over like it being in the tank for a year, right? Like that's the hard part because that's going to take a long time to figure out like, after 6 months, I really got to move this plant over here because it's screwing with this, or it's getting too much light, or it's too close to the front, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. So that stuff takes a long time, and I'm boring the pants off of Victoria, so let's get
No,
out
I
of
have
here.
your question. I have
what?
your question.
Oh, you got it?
I was waiting patiently to ask the question.
Okay, what is it?
After so many years together, he reads me so well. But A-Rod
You were looking you were like looking down and going like this.
I was trying to keep the feed in one spot so I didn't lose the question again. A-Rod Sell Homes asks, do I have a good chance of my shrimp reproducing in a tank that has one baby beta, baby super red bristlenose pleco, 4 ottos, and a zebra loach? It is a 25-gallon tank. I'm going to say no. Can I tell you why?
Why?
It feels like a lot in a 25-gallon tank to be able to get you have to get the atmosphere just right.
You have to get the atmosphere just right?
The atmosphere just right. I don't know. That feels like a lot in a 25-gallon tank for the shrimp to want to breed. Right? It's got to be good temperature, good water parameters, and
I mean, they'll probably breed in there. See, I don't know what kind of shrimp you're talking about, so that's really kind of my first question is like, what's up with these shrimp? What kind of shrimp? What's going on? Like I got my crystal shrimp with some super red bristlenose, which I wouldn't normally advise to people necessarily, but somebody like me, I know that the super red bristlenose aren't going to eat the crystal shrimp. They're just going to kind of mess around with them a little bit. The super reds probably aren't going to breed at that lower temperature, but they'll eat and put on weight, and when they get bigger, I'll move them to a tank where they could go breed in. But yeah, I think I agree with Vicky is that like 4 ottos is not enough in one tank. That's not a good setup. With one beta, with one zebra loach, it seems kind of just a scattered, like, stocking of fish, right? Because there's like one zebra loach in there.
but that happens sometimes if you pick up orphans and stuff.
It's a good point. Yeah, and that does happen, but I think if that's the case, like, and if you really want to breed shrimp,
do a dedicated tank.
Just do a shrimp-only tank. It's the best advice I can give anybody. As far as, like, if you want to breed shrimp. Now, shrimp will breed inherently in a healthy environment. They will, because, they're they're nature's food, basically. They're a food source in nature, which seems super rude. It seems super rude to say that, but they are food for a lot of critters out there in the world. It's just a fact, and that's why they breed prolifically when the water is correct and they have enough food. They'll breed like crazy because they end up being a food source and processing food, essentially from inedible for certain creatures up into a shrimp form that is edible for a lot of fish and stuff like that. So, yeah. All right, we ran 10 minutes over, so hopefully that helped you out. Hope everybody's having a great Martin Luther King Jr. Day out there, and Vicky and I are going to go hang out and do whatever we're going to do.